Hello. So I wanted to talk about self-destructive tendencies and how this can really manifest um, in everyone as kind of a human condition, and then also as a blockage in a self-love journey, and also as being someone that is a healer in whatever way that might mean to you. It's sort of an abstract concept, so I'm going to do my best to keep this organized so that you guys can follow along. I haven't really planned for this, I just picked a topic. So, in terms of just a general human condition, I'm trying to understand, first of all, why I do this with myself, but why we all seem to have this quality within us where we just want to just self-destruct and make these decisions that we know are not going to benefit us in the long run, but we make them anyway. And one of my theories is instant gratification. I think that plays a really big part in all of this, that our brains are wired more, and it's not a bad thing, to the now moment. So it's hard to kind of flip it and think, well, maybe this is good for 1 second of a decision, but is it really going to be good for later? But even when you take that apart, most of the time, if you're really faced with, like, let's say it's eating a giant bag of potato chips, for example. For me, I do food a lot with it, or kind of having weird emotions within my relationships. But let's say you're staring down a bag of chips and you think immediately, oh my God, this is going to make me feel so good. But in the back of your mind, you know that it's going to make you feel sick. I think it's really important that we try to listen to that voice and have some sort of self-control. I think that to some degree we let um, our biochemistry make the decisions rather than our consciousness. And I think that it is a gray area, and a lot of the times you do need to listen to your body, but the thoughts that you're having are probably coming from your body, and it's very conflicting and it's very confusing when you're faced with a decision and you can see both the black and the white of it, and then you have to make a choice. And this is something that everyone deals with every single day. um, and I think really it's about respecting yourself enough to have patience and to work with yourself. And then, like I mentioned, it's part of a self-love journey to really not get in your own way. And you're going to be the one that knows whether a decision is going to have a positive or negative impact on you. And it's very hard to be consistent about it. And I think that it's so much easier in terms of inertia, if you make one bad decision, to keep making a bunch of bad decisions. Um, and it can really spiral out of control. Um, in terms of like a healing perspective, I know that for my own case, when I am doing so good and I feel really clean and really healthy and everything's going the right way, I tend to get bored. And because I'm constantly trying to fix and heal and put my energy out there in order to generate new things, and I try my very best not to project that on other people unless they ask me for their help directly. Um, I'll create a situation in which there is chaos or imbalance within my own system, so that I am then forced to fix it. And that is really what I want to stop doing personally. And I'm not really sure why I can't be content with balance and peace, and why I'm constantly revving myself up just to tear myself back down again. Um, and that's part of my own self-love journey. So I'm just wondering if this resonates with any other people. I don't necessarily have like advice. I'm just kind of making observations, um, because I'm struggling with this right now. And I think that there's probably certain emotional blockages, mental blockages, and barriers that maybe it takes 5 or 7 days of consistency to actually break through that before the desires really go away. And I think it's about purifying, and I think it's about cleansing. And I think that once you start treating yourself good and treating your body well, all of these things just start kind of bubbling up. And the things that you're used to do to suppress them, these self-destructive behaviors, you're trying not to do that anymore. So you're going to have to come face to face with a lot of thoughts and feelings that you don't want to. And so it's really hard to push through that and remember why you're doing it in the first place. Um, so I think that if you guys have any advice on that, on this topic, I would really love to hear it, because I suppose that I know what to do in order to continue with my self-love journey, but it's very hard for me to actually do it. And this is something that I've been meaning to conquer for a while in terms of self-control and nutrition and exercise and really holding myself accountable. And I think that with Saturn in Capricorn and Mars in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn, it's kind of really time for us to get our shit together. And I think that a lot of people are struggling with this. I think that a lot of people really don't want to face the music. They don't want to change. They don't want to step up and really fully embody themselves. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's scary to have to deal with all of those things that you haven't been dealing with forever. Um, and I totally get that. But I feel like at the same time, we are so supported by God, by the universe, by our higher selves, by love and earth and our friends and our family, to make the kind of decisions that are going to make us happy, because everyone else wants us to do our best. So it's hard when we don't want that for ourselves. And deep down, I'm sure that we do. But really, it's time, because the kind of person that we are crafting and the kind of world that we're trying to create, we need to fully step into that so that it can actually manifest. While we have an infinite amount of time, I want to say that we don't have forever to make the kind of decisions that we need to. And sometimes we have to just do things. And sometimes we can't put it off anymore. And it's time to heal and it's time to move forward. And I really feel like the time is now. Disregarding all of the crazy violence and apocalyptic vibrations that are being broadcast to us through most of the media forces and the government, I believe that this world really is heading in a positive direction. I think people are being forced to come to terms with their own survival, with their own meaning and purpose and heart space, because when you're threatened with everything around you falling apart, you really find what's important. And so I believe that this climate that we're being raised in is kind of a gift, because we can really strip down to everything that makes us who we are, and be really truthful and authentic and have integrity. This Capricorn energy is really trying to reconnect us to a very base rooted level. I was watching an astrologer, his name is Kai Pacha, and he was talking about how Saturn and Pluto haven't been conjunct with each other in over 4,000 years. Um, and that's pretty wild to me as someone that's only 24, you know. There are major things happening right now, and a lot of them are out of our control. A lot of them have to do with fate and destiny and time and cycles, and we are kind of just playing along. But we are playing very big parts. This is a very crucial, very important time where we're really stripped bare, we're really stripped raw, and there gets to be a point where everything is taken from you and you have nothing to lose, and then the people kind of stand up for themselves, you know? Um, I think that, at least in America, which is the only perspective I can really talk about right now, people are completely losing respect and faith in their government, and they're starting to turn to each other, and they're starting to look more towards small businesses and making consumer choices that benefit the planet, that benefit the country, that benefit other families and people that are working, that benefit the animals a little bit more, though we're definitely struggling with that for sure. People are trying to make decisions where they buy food that is less chemically treated and perhaps sourced a bit with a little bit less violence and a little bit more love and care and attention when possible and when affordable. I think that people are really trying to support each other on a base level. People are trying to stand up for all of the minorities and really shift the social dynamic and make sure that everyone feels loved and accepted and is treated fairly by the law. And I don't think that this wave is stopping. I know that the generations that are younger than me, my little sister and all of her friends, they have this giant political drive, and they have always been very aware of LGBT and trans issues. And granted, we grew up in a very liberal area, but I really feel that the generations to come are going to be even more connected to what we need as a human species. And it's really time for people to step down that have hatred in their hearts, because they shouldn't be in charge of us anymore. Human beings are not, as perhaps Christianity has spun it, these sinful, patriarchal, ruling species that is meant to dominate and control the whole planet, but is so flawed on the inside. That has been the picture that has been painted of us for thousands of years, and I really don't believe that that's true. I think that there are so many different theories of human consciousness and how we came to be, and I'm not really here to disprove or prove any of them. But what I do want to say is that I believe that we are very loving beings that are capable of doing very profound and beautiful things, who can resonate with this planet on very interesting and groundbreaking levels. And perhaps our consciousness isn't always meant to stay on this planet, and maybe we need to let it heal. But while we are here, I believe that we should do our best to be of benefit and of positive influence with the lives that we've been blessed with. I know I've been here since Atlantis, and I came here because I was intrigued by what was happening here, and the energy seemed so fresh and so new and so grounded and so real and so tangible and emotional and physical, and all of these things that I think drew all of these billions and billions of souls here so that we could learn and breathe and believe in all the ways that we wanted to. So I feel like this topic really got away with me, but at the same time, to bring it all back, the whole planet we seem to be destroying ourselves, and we are the planet, and it's so self-destructive everywhere, with threats of war and racism and violence and health problems and the environment and everything. It seems like everything is being destroyed around us, and I don't have the answers necessarily, but if I could sum it up in a word, I suppose it would be love, to answer my own question. Love is going to be the answer for self-destructive behaviors. And you've got to have patience, and you've got to love yourself and the planet and everyone else. And when you can do that first and then make a decision, I think that that'll really be the direction that everyone needs to head in. So next time you're faced with that critical moment where you know that this decision could impact you, send love through your heart, send love through the thing that you're struggling with, send love to anyone that's involved, any animal that's involved, and then make a choice. And that's really my advice. So I'll be back with some more astrology videos soon. I've just had a lot on my mind lately. I feel like I'm definitely going through a lot of mental restructuring, and things like this, and a lot of that probably has to do with Mercury and Aries, which I really love because it forces you to think in new, innovative ways and kind of fight and battle the old ways and destroy things, and it's very therapeutic for the brain to go through this transit. So I hope you guys are enjoying that, and I'll be back with you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching.